Welcome to Wisdom Tips. Hello, everyone. I'm your host, Dr. Connie Green. I am so excited to have you here today. I'm here to drop pearls of true wisdom, giving you the tools that you would need to live a victorious life. Are you ready? I got an excellent topic on today. It's something that we've all been facing. The topic of today is talking about how to adjust after tragedy strikes. Woo! I could take a deep breath on that because we've seen a lot of that in the last few years with COVID and everything. So how do we adjust? Some people are still adjusting over the things that we have experienced during COVID. So, and every day that we see on the news and TV, oh my goodness, it is absolutely something. So if you want to share this with somebody, please share this with somebody and and let them know that we're on the air because somebody's going to be blessed tonight. So let me ask you a question. Have you ever experienced tragedy? Have you? Oh, I know you have. We all have. But before we get into it, because we talk about tragedy, but do you really know the meaning of tragedy? Let me give you the definition. Tragedy is an event causing great suffering, destruction, and distress, such as serious accidents, crimes, or natural catastrophes. Tragedy can also be overwhelming. It can be so overwhelming that you can't understand it, you can't process it, you can't move forward, you can't move from it. You think about it, you toss and turn at night, you can't figure out how in the world or why in the world did this happen to me. We hear it every day on the news, on TV. We read it, we read about it, we watch it on TV, we see it on social media. Somebody's lives have been turned upside down. Just things that we even experiencing today as I speak. When you look at Ukraine, men are being killed, women are being killed, children are being killed, and it's just devastating. These people have lost their homes, nowhere to live. Some of them are going into hiding, and no food, no clothing. That is a tragedy. Can you imagine how they're feeling right now? Then there's other types of tragedies that we have. Earthquakes, tornadoes, planes, crashes. We hear about automobile accidents. We hear about house fires. We hear about whole cities being burned up, like California, when they have those fires out there, people's homes are burned up. And then you think about, somebody's loved one has been murdered. It seems like every day you turn on the TV, somebody's loved one has been murdered. Somebody's child has been kidnapped. Can you imagine having a child being kidnapped? And then you even, have people that are going through situations and circumstances where family members have committed suicide. And so, there we are. We have everything, that's going on in life, everything that we experience. If we're not personally experiencing it, we're hearing about it every day, and then when we hear about those things, oftentimes, we hear about those things and we realize that maybe the people that are going through those type of things, the rug has been pulled out from under them, and now they have to find out a way to start all over again with new unfamiliar paths, a path to to start out on again. Some of them have lost their homes and their homes have burned up, and now they have nowhere to live. They're homeless, and they've got to start all over again. You think about the tornadoes we've been having lately. People's houses are being torn up and torn apart, and then the house fires and all of this, and it's just shocking. And then, we look at that stuff and sometimes we can identify with it. We can identify with the shock and the confusion and the heartbreak, and we say, oh, that was so sad. Oh, that's just pitiful. I need to pray for them. And, we see those things and we say those things, we move on, and guess what? We forget. Yes, because it hasn't happened to us. But as we live and as we go on in life, all of a sudden, tragedy strikes us. Has it ever happened to you? Can you just think back of something horrific that you went through? Maybe you don't even want to talk about it. But I just want you to think a little bit tonight because I want you to process these things that we have went through in life, and we're still holding on to them because we're not getting healed. We're not processing what really happened to us. So I'm so excited for this broadcast because I myself have been through tragedies, several types of tragedies. And the Lord has really showed me so many ways that I could get free from it and delivered and pass on from those situations. So I want to help you today. And I want you to stay tuned because today is going to be, I'm telling you, it's going to be something that's going to really maybe shake some of us to our core, because you may even have a loved one that can identify with this story that I'm getting ready to tell right now. I would like to share a story of my brother. And if you will allow me, I would like to read a few excerpts from my book, When Love Heals. My very first chapter, I talked about the incident with my brother. And if you just can indulge me just a little bit while I read some of the excerpts from it. It was almost 14 years ago, on September the 14th, 2008. I was happy and we was with family. It was a fall evening, laughter and food had been shared. Then suddenly, the evening was interrupted by a phone call. My brother has been shot, my husband said. At the time, I didn't know if my brother was dead or alive. As my family and I rushed to the scene, there was police officers, flashing lights, ringing and blasting everywhere. I seen people cross the street looking. I jumped out of my car. I started trying to run towards some of my family members and toward the police tape. And then all of a sudden, the police just stopped me and said, "Ma'am, you can't go there." And I said, "But somebody said my brother's been shot." He wouldn't let me go. I couldn't go any further. Then all I could think about is, where is my brother? I want to see my brother. And all of a sudden, I collapsed. I literally fell on the ground. And when I came to myself, my husband had me in his arms and I was crying. I was devastated. Waves just rushed through my heart. It was just pounding. It was horrific. I was in utter belief, because when I got there finally and came to myself, they told me that my brother Clinton had killed himself. I was horrified. It was almost like you're in a movie somewhere and somebody tells you something and you just gonna shake it off and say, "No, I know that's not the truth. I know that's not really what happened." And as the story played in my mind, I couldn't believe it. I was numb. I just can't even explain it. I wanted to just leave that scene and never come back, but I knew I couldn't. So as the police officers were there, and I guess they were doing what they had to do the investigation, my other brother ran through the tape that the police officers had. And they grabbed him and drugged him. And then that was more horrifying for me, because you hear about the violence and stuff sometimes the police officers would do with black males. So back then I was just saying, "Oh my God, they're going to kill him." And it took 4 men to grab him and throw him down on the ground. They kept telling him, "You cannot go in there." And now I'm terrified now, because one has been murdered and the other one's been handcuffed. I was terrified. Then it brought back memories of my mother, who was tragically killed. This was another defining moment for me. Seemed like everything came back. At that instance, I thought, "Oh my God, if only I had, maybe I should have. What could I have done?" Some people may fill in the blanks with different words, but the sentiments are the same. I should have been able to stop my brother from killing himself. I thought to myself, I just seen him at church only 2 weeks ago. The altar was called, and I seen him making his way to the altar, and somebody grabbed him and he turned back around. So after church, he came up to me, we hugged, we kissed. I was so glad to see him. And he said, "Sis, I would like for you to go out to dinner with me today." And I said, "Brother, I can't. I have an appointment after church. Maybe we can hook up some other time." Boy, that's what came to my mind. Why didn't I go out to see what my brother wanted? I didn't have time. I kept saying to myself, I didn't have time. Maybe he wanted to talk to me about something. What maybe he wanted to share with me about something. I felt so guilty. I felt so responsible. I was angry with myself. I was feeling so raw, so toxic. Although he had endured many challenges, I stopped thinking about the good things about him. He had come so far. How could he take his life? How could he leave us like this? I grieved so bad over him. And when I stopped grieving, I got mad at him. And I kept saying to myself, how could he do the family like this? He had children, he had a wife, he had sisters and brothers, he had people that loved him. As I thought about Clint, I literally struggled to breathe. It was months. I was numb. I tried to be happy. I tried to put on a smile, but I couldn't. And then I started having my own thoughts of suicide because me being the older sister to him, I felt responsible because years ago when my mama died, I promised all my brothers and sisters that someday we're going to get a house and we're going to all be together. And now I had failed. I felt like I had failed. I never did what they said. I never did what I told them that I would do. And now I've lost one of my siblings and I felt personally responsible. Mama wasn't there. Daddy wasn't there. It was big sister there. Then I began to struggle again. I began to have shortness of breath. I felt like I was having a heart attack. I wanted to throw in the towel, but the enemy kept telling me, why don't you just take your life? Now your brother gone, your mama gone. Don't nobody love you. You know, you ain't nothing. You know about it. And I just felt lifeless. Feeling of guilt impacted me because of the loss of my brother. These feelings can also brew silently and deepen in anger. Yes, I became angry. I became angry with me, with others, people that hurt him. I felt like I didn't do what I should have done. And I was just done until I began to pray and ask God to help me. And he did relieve me from that state that I was in. I was grasping with grief and it was unspeakable and I was in shock. So I want to ask you a question. Have you ever experienced this kind of shock? Wow, when I even talk about it, it comes back to my memory. Not only my brother's situation, but other things. The first thing we do, we have shock. How did you respond? Put it in the comments. If you want to share with us, put it in the comments. How did you respond? Did you withdraw? Did you go somewhere and close a door and a window and refuse to come out? Did you stop living? Number 3, how has it shaped your life? How has it shaped your life? Well, for me, losing my brother shaped my life in a way that I began to love my family more than I ever loved them before. I've always loved my family, but sometimes I didn't spend the time with my family as I should. That's very important to me now. Family is very important. My brothers, my sisters, of course, my children and my husband, and the people that I love, my friends and family. That's what shaped my life. What it told me is life is short. You never know when somebody's going to go. That day, my brother asked me to go to lunch with him, and I didn't. It's a day I would never forget. And I promised myself that I would never let that happen again. When someone in my family needs me, I will be there. And I know you will be too. So you may be wondering, how was I able to overcome this tragedy? How? Well, stay tuned. We'll be right back after this break, and we'll give you a few wisdom tips on how you can survive your own tragedy. God bless you. We'll be right back.
My name is Asante Houghton, and I live with depression and anxiety. One of the things that is challenging about, living with depression and anxiety is you kind of wake up to a different mode every single day and you don't quite know what that's going to be. My mom experiencing mental illness, that was really challenging. Her mental illness really kind of emerged in a big way when I became a teenager. That's a very transformative time for most people, and that's a time where you're supposed to kind of experiment, figure out who you are. And I didn't really have an opportunity to do that because I was either worried about my mom or taking care of my mom. I think one of the hardest things for people to understand about the experience of mental illness is oftentimes you're rational and irrational at the same time, which is to say that you know what the rational thing to do is and how it will benefit you. When I think about Not Suicide, Not Today, it really makes me think about myself growing up as, young, Black, in poverty, and all of the things that came with that in my environment. All the challenges I had navigating, society as a Black person and identity issues and all of the pieces that come along with that. And then I think about what about other young Black males or young Black women, and I think about what might they be going through and how, the issues of race and not having their stories told or respected. All of those young people who look like me and who didn't have an outlet or someone to talk to or didn't feel safe to talk about it or didn't feel like they could talk about it and feel heard. You are not alone, and that there is a community of folks out there who are willing to listen. I think people should support CAMH because CAMH is a leader in Canada in terms of mental health research and is really trying its best to help Canadians do better when they're impacted by mental illness.
Not today.
I'm here. You can tell me anything.
I see you. We're in this together.
Breakthroughs are happening.
Treatments are evolving.
The stats can change.
Society can change.
We can all say, not today.
Not today.
Not today.
Not today.
Not today.
If we're together, bound to be better. When we're together.
Welcome back to Wisdom Tips with Dr. Green. Wasn't that amazing? That's something to think about. Not today. That's what I often tell the devil when I get upset. Not today, devil. And we're going to get together, all of us, because we're a tribe. We're going to help somebody that's discouraged, and we're going to encourage somebody that won't happen to them, right? All right. Now, today we're talking about how to adjust after tragedy strikes. Those of you that just tuning in, please share this with a friend. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. This is a very important topic that we're talking about. We want to save somebody today, encourage somebody, and lift them up and let them know they have a tribe if they have nobody else. So if you are just tuning in, please share again this broadcast that we're talking about how to adjust after tragedy strikes. And we're saying today, and we're declaring that not today, not on our watch. We're going to be encouraged, and we're going to let God do what he do, and that is he's going to deliver us. I want to talk to you today about some wisdom tips that would help you adjust after tragedy stops. Number one, pace yourself. Put it in the comments. Pace yourself. Don't feel like you got to get delivered immediately. Pace yourself. Take your time. Grieve. It's a process. Cry. There are steps and levers to overcoming grief. It took me 2 or 3 years to overcome the death of my brother. I grieved a lot, and at first I didn't. I held it in, but the Lord allowed me to grieve. And once I grieved, got it out, talked about it, it really, really helped me. But it was a process. It didn't happen overnight. It takes time to heal. Let yourself heal no matter how. Don't let nobody put a timetable on it. That's what I'm trying to say. Somebody, sometimes people, when they lose loved ones, people tell them, now it's been a year, you need to move on. No, 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 no. It doesn't matter how long it takes. It matters how long you get healed. And whatever time that is, that's the time it will be. All right. And remember, whatever step you take in life, whatever steps you take towards your healing, it's going to take time, and you might have to repeat some of them same steps. You may be feeling good today, and 3 weeks later, then you're upset again, or you're depressed again, or you're discouraged again. That's okay. Give yourself time to heal and grieve. Number 2, take breaks. Put it in the comment. Tell somebody, take breaks. Now, that's something I had to learn, because I'm the type of person always doing stuff, running, doing this, doing that. But I had to learn to slow down and take breaks, because I found myself getting sick, not even emotionally and physically. Because when you run so much, you don't get any time to rest, you can get sick emotionally, and you can get sick in your body. So take regular mental and physical breaks. Pray. Now, that's the number 1 on my list. Pray. Talk to God about it. He's the only one can work it out for you. He can only one that can really truly deliver you. So build a relationship with him. So when you're going through something, you can go talk to him first, and then go talk to someone else. Walking is very good for you, very therapeutic. Breathing, learn how to breathe. Sometimes when you get overwhelmed, we hold our breath. We don't even realize we're holding our breath. Learn to breathe in and out. Those breathing exercises really work. I find myself, even when I'm in pain, if I breathe in and out, the pain will go away. If I'm upset about something, I breathe in and out. And come on, let's try it right now. Come on, breathe into your nose, blow out your mouth. I see how good that felt. That's if you did it. So breathe, do some vacationing, go some places, go places that you love, take a break. And it's good to take a break, because also not even resting our mind. I mean, not only our body, but our minds need to be rested. Our thoughts, the sorrow and the despair that we're feeling, we need to process it. So sometimes we have to just, have a break in our mind to relax our mind, so we can be able to move on and accept what happened, and move on and help God, ask God to help us continue to do that. And sometimes it may be on a daily basis, monthly basis, even yearly basis. Every now and then, our brother been dead 14 years, but it still feels like it's yesterday. I can't believe it's been 14 years. So that's okay. Take a break when you feel like that. Number 3, be patient with yourself. Put that in the comment. Tell somebody, be patient with yourself. First, realize that your feelings are normal, and there is nothing wrong with how you feel. So what am I saying? So what, you get upset one day, you fly off the handle. Yeah, that may be some bad behavior, but if you're going through something, you're dealing with some situations from the trauma that you're experiencing, it's okay. Go and apologize to the person you just screamed at after you calm down. The Bible said, fool utters all his mind, but a wise man holds it into afterwards, which basically means you ain't got to tell somebody everything on your mind. You can calm down and go back and talk about it. Don't beat up on yourself. Stop feeling overwhelmed and flooded with emotions and being numb. Just let that go. Number 4, forgive yourself. Forgive yourself for not being able to control the situation. Now, that was the hardest for me. It was hard for me to forgive myself. I felt, so guilty, not only with my brother, but not spending enough time with my other brothers and sisters. And the relationships got kind of distant when my brother died. And I felt bad about it, because I didn't know how to fix it. So I had to learn how to let go and let God. And the next one is, you are not to blame yourself on every bad situation in your life. You're not to blame your life on every bad situation. It's always, times where you can go back and share your feelings with somebody maybe you thought you had offended, or they had offended you. And if you're not healed, it might not be a good time to go talk to that person, because that's when all those emotions will start flying everywhere. So sometimes I always tell people, if you're not healed, don't go confront that person that may have offended you. Wait till you get some healing, then you can go talk about it. And a lot of times when you're healthy and you're healed, it'll come out much, much better for you. And if you can find fault, though, in any of your actions, learn from them. In other words, maybe you did do something that maybe caused the trauma. That's okay too. Just forgive yourself and learn from that mistake. Grow from them. But most importantly, I can't say it enough, stop blaming yourself and forgive yourself because you're not perfect. Number 5, don't suppress your feelings. Now that is what I had to really work on. I know I just said it, but holding that in and trying to be strong. I've always tried to be a very strong person, the type of person you don't see cry a lot and you don't see a lot of emotions. But to be honest with you, I'm very, very sensitive when it comes to loving people and wanting to do the best I can for humanity. And so when I get hurt by other people that I've tried to do things for or love or pour into, and they reject me or they do something that hurt me, I'll hold stuff in. So when my brother died, I held it in because I felt like I was the perpetrator. I was the one was to blame because I didn't go out with him that Sunday because I kept feeling like I could have stopped him from doing that. But that really wasn't my fault. It wasn't my situation. That was his situation. That's something that he was going through. The next thing when I talk about don't suppress your feelings, find ways to face your feelings. Find ways to face your feelings. Like write a journal, write a book. When I wrote my first book on depression, I wrote that book when I was going to school as a counselor. And that was one of the things that I wanted to talk about in my classroom assignment that they had me to do. I wrote on depression, and when I wrote on depression, I found out that I was dealing with some of those same symptoms. But after I got through with the book, I was totally healed because I wrote my story down. I wrote my feelings down. I wrote what happened to me and when it happened to me and how I got free from that situation. And it totally liberated me. So I would say, write in a journal, see a professional counselor, find somebody trustworthy that you can confide in, and then tell them and go on through the process of getting healing. Your emotions are there to be expressed. Don't hide them, don't deny them, and don't repress them. Let me say that again. Your emotions are there to express, not to hide. Put in the comments, not to deny, not to repress. If somebody hurt you, go to them. The Bible said, if your brother offend you, go to him, reconcile with your brother, leave your gift at the altar. So I have to do that. You have to do that. We all have to do that if we really want to be free. So I hope you enjoyed the broadcast today. But before we go, I want to share with you the National Suicide Prevention Hotline. It's going to be going across the screen. It's a toll-free number, and you can call that number 24/7. If you're feeling like that, if you know somebody else feeling like they want to hurt themselves, please give them this number. If you're feeling like that today, please go talk to somebody. It's not as bad as you think it is. God can bring you out of any situation or any circumstances. You are fearfully and wonderfully made. God created you for purpose. Somebody needs you to hear your voice. Somebody needs you to pour into them. We need you. Stay with us. Talk to someone. And we're here to help as well. You can message me, and you can go to my website, drconniegreen.com, and I'll be glad to talk to you. So in my closing, I'm excited that you joined in today. And we ask you if you would join in again on next week on Thursday at 7 p.m. Join us for Wisdom Tips. You can also join us live on Facebook and YouTube. Again, thank you for joining us, and be encouraged, and let the God that's in you be the God in others as you share the goodness of the Lord in your life. Remember, wisdom is the principal thing, and all that get an understanding so you can live a victorious life. God bless you. I love you. See you next week.